Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a Cristobal update Sunday morning, and I can't move this. You're looking at the current model and the current position of Cristobal just off the shore of New Orleans. Now, the distance here is calculable. It's a few hundred miles away, and it should make landfall in the next 24 hours or less. In my opinion, it will be about 20 hours from the production of this video. Current sustained winds, 58 miles per hour in very small pocket here of the eastern winds of the storm, but averaging around 50 mostly for the storm as a whole currently. And as we discuss the tropical storm, the first to affect the mainland in a big way this season, evacuation orders begin in Louisiana as Cristobal churns the Gulf. And that's good news. Keep calm. It's boom time. Cristobal threatens Gulf Coast from Louisiana to Florida in the next 48 hours. The third named storm of what is predicted to be an intense hurricane season is expected to make landfall Sunday. What does that mean for you? Well, Sunday will not be a fun day. Tropical storm Cristobal caused torrential rains flooding the streets of the Yucatan on Wednesday. The storm, which is expected to arrive in the southeastern U.S. on Sunday, was blamed for deaths in Mexico and parts of Central America. We should see similar scenes in New Orleans by Monday morning. Now, finalize your plans for Cristobal now. If you need anything, wake up in the morning and go get it. You have no time. The storm will make landfall 10 p.m. just west of Louisiana. Just west of New Orleans tomorrow night. That's Sunday night. So take heed. The governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is urging everyone to finalize their emergency plans as Tropical Storm Cristobal continues to target the Louisiana coast. Heavy rainfall, coastal flooding are major concerns for much of the state. Now, this is not a joke. This is not, well, this is the real deal. So, go get what you need. Tropical storm force winds are likely starting Sunday morning and could extend all the way through the day. This is a slow mover. It comes up here to the coast and there's a little hee-haw. It moves left and right because there's another system moving in, which is going to cause it to hook and turn here later in the week. But Mobile County opens safety shelter amid the threat of the tropical storm Cristobal, which is good news because they're going to be hard hit. I believe the hardest hit region will be New Orleans, and we'll get to that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Gulf Coast communities prepare for flooding from tropical storm Cristobal. Let's see what Allison Chinchar has to say. We only have a few seconds parsed up here, so don't expect much.
Allison Chinchar, the latest update from the National Hurricane Center shows that Cristobal is strengthening, and we expect it to continue to strengthen throughout the day today. In terms of the statistics, the storm is right now sustained winds at 50 miles per hour, gusting up to 65 miles per hour. Forward movement is to the north at about 12 miles per hour. We don't anticipate that forward movement to really adjust much, at least not in the next 12 to 24 hours. Landfall is still expected somewhere along the Louisiana coast sometime early Sunday evening, at least based off the latest track that we have.
So they're saying 7 p.m. We're saying 10 p.m. We'll see who nails it. Key message for Tropical Storm Cristobal. There is a danger of life-threatening storm surge outside of the hurricane and storm damage risk reduction system from the mouth of the Mississippi River to the Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And storm surge warnings is in effect for those areas. Life-threatening storm surge remains possible in other portions of the southern and southeastern Louisiana, where a storm surge watch is in effect. Residents in these locations should follow advice given by local emergency officials. Now, before we get on to 2, to add insult to injury, it is a full moon, which is going to make these tides even bigger. We're going to show you the storm surge potential when we get done, so stick with us. Tropical storm force winds are expected to begin overnight along the northern Gulf Coast from central Louisiana to the western Florida Panhandle, including metropolitan New Orleans, and a tropical storm warning is in effect for this area. These winds will arrive well in advance of and extend well east of Cristobal Center. We're talking winds going all the way to Tallahassee, to Tampa, maybe even currently, probably experiencing some gusts, and you're going to see the size of the storm in just a minute. But the biggest danger here is storm surge followed by flash flooding. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the danger days. I can't reiterate that enough. Tomorrow morning, get the supplies you need and hunker down. Heavy rainfall will continue from central to North Florida overnight, spreading from east to west across the eastern and central Gulf Coast from the Florida Panhandle into Louisiana on Sunday. This heavy rain will move into the lower Mississippi Valley on Monday and across the upper Mississippi Valley and Northern Plains into Tuesday. Significant flooding will be possible on small rivers and streams, especially where heavier rainfall occurs over portions of the Gulf Coast through the Mississippi River Valley. Missouri is saturated. Arkansas saturated. Parts of the South saturated. So there are going to be bad things happening. Now here's the experimental peak storm surge forecast graphic. This just starting to use this this year. So it's experimental. But Tampa Bay looking at 1 to 3 foot surge all the way south to Marco Island. Now, the Gulf acts as a unit, so that's why that's happening. So you basically, from Marco Island north, have the potential for 1 to 3 foot of surge, moving all the way through Mobile Bay and Pensacola Bay, 1 to 3 foot surge, Ocean Springs. Now, from Ocean Springs around to the mouth of the Mississippi, expect the major winds pushing up water there 3 to 5 feet. With the full moon, it could get as high as 7 feet, in my opinion. And I don't know why they're being so lenient here. From Morgan City to the mouth of the Mississippi, which is New Orleans west to Morgan City, 2 to 4 feet of surge on the Gulf side, direct hit, not in the Bay. So those are your warnings and watches. If you live on these coastal regions, from Mobile Bay all the way to the mouth of the Mississippi, I would expect if you're inside of this New Orleans cusp here, take heed, get to higher ground, or pray. Now we're going to look quickly here at the tropical storm crystal ball updated rainfall potentials, and these go all the way up into Canada. Do you see this? Yeah, it's insane. The storm is expected to bring 2 to 4 inches to Canada. Before it does that, it's going to dump 6 to 10 inches in parts of Florida, north central Florida, the Panhandle 4 to 6 inches, as well as Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The hardest hit is centralized right here in New Orleans. Now, with that storm surge and that prevailing wind to the west, pushing that water inland, with the torrential rains flowing out, they're going to meet in the middle and they're going to create a bulge. It's going to be massive flooding in the city of New Orleans. We might see some levees break. It's anyone's guess how it will play out, but we're going to be reporting on it in the next 48 hours. Here's the potential for flash flooding. We're now completely different than yesterday. These maps have changed drastically. 20% moderate is now through a huge swath all the way up into Arkansas and through Mississippi here. So if you're living in this red region, be prepared for flash flooding and moist conditions, to say the least. Now let's get to the good stuff. Whew, finally, the current position of the storm right here. And we could just peruse the maps or the wind speeds here. And so mainstream media was on point. Let's just move this through just a few hours and get it towards the coast where you'll see it really organize. And we're looking at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, which is just going to be about 9 hours after this posts. And you can see the storm intensifies here with sustained winds at 60 to 65 miles per hour, maybe gusting a little higher. So we'll be seeing this intensify. And then the eye moves a little bit east before it moves west again, which is very interesting. So let's see what it looks like here at 1 p.m. in the afternoon and see if we can corroborate this tomorrow afternoon. Wind speeds have not diminished, still gusting to 65, maybe 70 in some regions here. And we're preparing for the landfall. While it strengthens, because the water on the rim of the Gulf is the warmest right now because it's early summer, which is a bummer. But we can now see here the winds continue to whip as it makes landfall, Heaviest winds are now 70 miles per hour onshore, 72 right there. That's right between 73, directly between Mobile and New Orleans. 73 mile an hour onshore winds at 5 p.m. So if you live right here in Mississippi, in the central coast of Mississippi on the Gulf, you are going to be the hardest hit, the most destruction based on these models, and in my opinion. So please stay out of harm's way there. And then you can see right there, boom, 9 p.m., the supposed eye wall hitting. These models have updated, but we're looking at the ECMWF as opposed to the GFS. Let's see where the GFS model puts this storm at the same exact time. Shall we? There it is. So the GFS is a little earlier and a little weaker. The GFS is showing that 8 a.m., the eye of circulation will be directly offshore with maximum gusts to just under 50 miles per hour. And then at 9, right around noontime, they're showing the eye wall connecting with Louisiana and not much change in the wind pattern. So the GFS model is not the one I would go with because it's not matching current predictions and expectations. I would go with the ECMWF model. And we've been right all along for the last 2 years using this model, while others have not realized that. But most people are using this these days. So here we have landfall happening. And let's just run it through for you. Should we run the whole pattern? That way you can see the flow from the time I started the video in the next 24 hours. Hours of powers. 8 a.m. Sunday, 10 a.m., 11, 12 p.m., 1, 2 p.m. Sunday. 8 p.m. Sunday, the eye wall is hitting New Orleans. Hardcore. We just saw that all play out. Let's look at the maximum sustained winds here. We're talking 60. Once that eye wall hits, they go from 73 down to 65. That's good news. This may make landfall as a Cat 1. It won't be as destructive as some of the storms coming this summer, which is not a bummer. This is just a precursor for what is about to happen. So, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Get ready for the storm that's coming and will continue through Wednesday up into the central of the U.S. Please share this video with like-minded people. Don't be scared. Be prepared. And prepare as soon as you wake up. Go get the necessary supplies you need. Backup batteries, extra water, maybe extra food. Because proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance when Cristobal is about to make landfall. Be safe. We love you. Share this with people in the region. Heed the warnings. This is not a drill. This is the real deal. Maybe the first Cat 1 to hit U.S. in this hurricane cycle season, which will be very active. Are you listening? I hope so. Be safe. We love you. And that's a boom. Share this video.